All right. Parashat Shoftim. No. Mishpatim. Shoftim, Mishpatim, Ahava, Mada. Very, very interesting case here altogether. So after the great miracles and muftim that we had of Yetziat Mitzrayim, it's really like a climax of the movie, Coming out of Mitzrayim, we go into this unbelievable spiritual event of Har Sinai. It was... You guys don't understand the magnitude of Har Sinai. Let me just divert for 1 second. We're starting already off. I don't know. It doesn't look good, but if a person has a ability to experience one time in his life, an enlightenment experience where he would be able, so-called, to stop the world, as it said in the spiritual world, to stop the world, to be experiencing only the here and the now, and to stop all noise from your head, blah blah blah, etc., etc., etc. That it will be an event that would basically change your life from one end to the other. Here we have a whole entire nation, just to show you the magnitude of these people. Today the Jews are still spiritual because of that event, and that's in a way a continuum for what you said before. It happened 3,300 whatever years ago, and we still experience things vibrating inside of us because it was such an awesome event. So anyway, after that, all of a sudden, anticlimax, Parashat Mishpatim. Parashat Mishpatim, seems dry. However, it's not. That parasha teaches us the way how to act and how to live communal life when we live to come to a mishpat, to a judgment. So, again, from such a high spiritual world, it might seem that we are going down to the minutiae, to the small, little nitty-gritty of daily life and so on and so forth. And there is a list of halachot, how to solve certain problems here in this world. It doesn't look so appealing. Imagine a person just gets married, Baruch Hashem, he finds a nice Jewish girl, he's so happy. He wakes up the next morning to look at his wife, and loves her. And she goes, "Here's the key to the car, please go to work." I said, "What do you mean go to work?" I said, "We're married, you gotta go to work, parnasa, money." Even for a chatan, we let them a week of chilling out. Here, right away, these are the laws that you do this. Of course, we have the halachot of Eved Ivri, which starts right away, and continues from that to many other things. However, we need to pay attention. Again, every time we have such bizarre, quote unquote, situation, we need to look at things differently. We can't just look at it like this and look at the midrash and pay our dues and so on and so forth. There is a great reason why things were said and placed in the place and the way they were. And we need to understand that. Every time something doesn't seem right to you, or you have a question, that's the point you should stop and look inside. If you read the whole entire Tanakh from the beginning until the end, and you have no questions, let me tell you, you read it, but you didn't experience it. Got plenty of questions that can tell you that. So, and we should look, the Torah all of a sudden stopped that story of the Torah, of giving the Torah. Not only, it's like in a way the Torah took a commercial break from this great event of of Matan Torah, right? And Moshe goes to the mountain, he comes like this, and he tells, Ani Hashem Eloheinu Hashem Elokecha, blah, 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 the whole entire thing. All of a sudden, okay, commercial break. Message, this is a message from our sponsor, What? I want to go back 1 second to this world. I don't know how it works nowadays in movie theaters, but when I was a kid, they used to have a break in the movies to change the reels of the movie. So all of a sudden, in the peak of the movie, there is a cut, and if you watch the movie so many times, sometimes they have to cut, so you miss like a whole entire scene. There will be, that's exactly what happened to us now. And What's going on here? And it goes like this, as the Torah says, Vayomer Hashem el Moshe, and Hashem said, Aleh elai ha'ara, vayah el Moshe el ha'ar, vayachas ha'anan, and the cloud came in, and Moshe came to the cloud, and he goes to the mountain, and sitting down 40 days and 40 nights, and so on and so forth. Again, why did the Torah chose to stop here, in the middle of, again, pay attention, giving the Torah, and tells us the story of Parashat Mishpatim. Okay, I know that we say there's always en mukdam u'meuchar b'Torah. There's no earlier and later in the Torah. I'll be honest with you, I don't like that excuse. You know what I'm talking about? You can't say, okay, this is a chronological order of things that happen. And I say, yes, that's a chronological things of things to happen. We need to find the reason why things were said like this. En mukdam u'meuchar b'Torah, in a way, it's like pushing things under the carpet, under the rug. Okay, let's go. That doesn't work like that. So there's a reason why in the middle we stopped. It says in Tehillim Kuf Mem Zayin will make it 147, verse
6.
No, Yud Zayin 17. What you guessing? Don't play a lot of it. It says Magid Dvarav LeYaakov. It says his words to Yaakov, to Am Yisrael, Chukav u'mishpatav l'Yisrael. What does it mean? Magid Varam leYaakov, Chukav u'mishpatav l'Yisrael. What does it mean? Why is the pasuk using those two different words? So you say Magid Varav, Chukav u'mishpatav l'Yisrael. Why Yaakov and Israel? And why Chukim u'mishpatim to Israel and Dvarav to Yaakov? So David HaMelech, in a way, gives us a testimony here that those mishpatim, pay attention, and we're going to elaborate a little bit further than that the mishpatim, the laws on which we deal, are on the halachot, basically, are on the same level of kedusha as Aseret HaDibrot. That's something that conservative and Reform Jews would not like to hear. And I would really try to behave myself not to mention them, because I'm really like up to here with them. And that's after I was standing on a chair. The halachot have the same kedusha as Aseret HaDibrot. Ani Hashem Elokecha, kabed et avicha ve'et imecha. The same thing as the halachot of Even Ivri. What we learn here, Tikkun Olam, lo Tikkun Olam. The Tikkun Olam already we've been doing for 2 months already. Tikkun Olam. And we're not Breslevs, you know. The Tikkun Olam is Masechet Gittin. It's like endless. So, and it says, and even more than that, what's perplexing to me, Magid Dvarav LeYaakov, it says his words, Chukav u'mishpatav l'Yisrael. It says here that the madrega, and we all know that the level of Israel is higher than the level of Yaakov. So not only they are as valid, Chukim Mishpatim as valid, that might even be on a higher level. That's why it says the Mishpatim are higher in the Kedusha on that. Rashi says on that pasuk, Ve'ele HaMishpatim, these are the laws. Kol makom shenemar ele, anywhere it says these, Pasal HaRishonim, he removed the first one and inserted the new ones. Ve'ele, to add on the first laws and to give them the same validity as the second one. In other words, Ma Rishonim hem misinai, af elu misinai. The first halachot, the first commandments that we got, the 10 commandments and so on and so forth, are from Har Sinai. Also the halachot are misinai. It's a very important thing to understand. By the way, where's Manny? Okay. That's why it says, that's one way to understand why Parashat Mishpatim comes in the middle of Inyan of Kabbalat Torah, in order for us to understand the Kedusha of the Dinei Mishpatim, of the halachot that we have. Many people would never dare to violate one of the 10 commandments, so on and so forth. But when it comes to a halacha, they don't care. Some people say, I only do mitzvot. Halachot I don't. Let me give you an example of a small halacha. You know the Uncle Moshe song? Actually, it's not Uncle Moshe. It's Rafi. You put your right shoe in, you put your left shoe in, you tie, that's Uncle Moshe. You tie the left, you tie the right. That's a halacha, it's not a mitzvah. And yet, it's brought in the Shulchan Aruch. That's a halacha. No, when you put there's a difference between a mitzvah and a halacha. And a halacha, if we're going to go with this, that the halacha is higher than the mitzvah, you pay attention not to what you do and how you do things. You got to be very careful. And it says that, and because of that, we have to go deeper, and we really need to understand what we call Madrigat HaMishpat b'Yisrael, laws that we have. Because the Dinei Torah, Ma Din Torah be'emunat Israel, the din is dependent on the emunah of Israel. Why? Because the other mishpatim and the dinim, the laws, the constitutions of other nations are logical. The laws of the Jews are by emunah. And in other words, when the Goyim wrote the Constitution, or with great praise of the American Constitution, it was done out of a tremendous foresight and logic that I wish we had today. I mean, just tell you, how dumb we become and how great those people were. It says, but the Emunah Yehudit, the Jewish belief, is that Chukei Torah was given all in Har Sinai, and they were written all within the Torah. They're in a way kind of condensed, how do you call them? When you have the computer, compressed filed in the Torah itself. And more than that, any din that was paskin in a Beit Din Torani, in a Jewish Beit Din, according to the laws of Torah, becomes, Rabbotai, a part of the Torah. And it's so much that Chazal said in Masechet Shabbat the following: Kol dayan shedan din emet le'amito. Any dayan who does paskin the din according to the truth, na'asa shutaf lakadosh baruch hu b'maaseh bereshit. He becomes a partner with HaKadosh Baruch Hu in creation. Rabotai, not everybody could become a dayan. Unfortunately today, there are many people who are not qualified to become dayanim. Yes, they are very terrific people. But people think to become a dayan in Beit Din is a sport. It's a title. You need to have such yirat shamayim and fear of God. Not only awe, in this case you have to have fear of God, because you are a partner. And if you are at the level of a partner, not a worker, you have to be very careful with what you do and how you conduct yourself. And the din has to be din Torah le'amito shel Torah, to the truthfulness of Torah. And that's not something should be taken lightly. Today, every chagav, any grasshopper, makes himself a Beit Din. People that the past, I know people in the past are not so clean. They make a Beit Din. Only people like Rabbi Belsky and people like that are appropriate to sit in Beit Din. Everybody else should mind their own business and worry about themselves. Don't make yourself Beit Din. Everybody, today they are Beit Din as much as they are, I think, supermarkets. He says, the Gemara in Masechet Brachot, three men who are sitting together in the din, Shechina imahem, the Shechina comes together with them. What does it mean? It means that in the human intellect, when they are evaluating things, a mistake could come. They can make a mistake. We can make a mistake in the din. We forgot something. We didn't pay attention. We're human. We can make a mistake. But pay attention to what we said beforehand. any din shenidon ba'amitito shel Torah, any din that is done according to the truthfulness of the Torah, becomes a part of the Torah. So when you're doing the din b'mishpat Hashem, and it's done emet la'amito, it's done the truth for the truth and nothing but the truth, 3 dayanim that are dealing with a sugiyah, that are dealing with a halachic issue, the Shekhinah comes and sits upon them and agrees with their psak. It's the same thing as we have, for example, when we have the Chodashim, when they used to call upon the new moon, the new month, two guys come and it says, Ele moadei mikrei kodesh, asher tikreu otam bemoadam. What does it mean? Ele moadei Hashem, these are the times, the holidays of Hashem, and they are holy holidays, mikrei kodesh. Asher tikreu otam, which you would call upon them, b'moadam when it's time. How is it possible? I'm a person. How do I know what it is? So when the 2 witnesses come, keguf echad, and they want to do the right thing, the Shekhinah comes and sits upon them and helps them in a way, gives them a spiritual boost to be able to call it appropriately so they will not be mistaken. The same thing, Rabotai. The same thing when you come to learn in Bet Medrash. When you have a chevruta, or you're sitting down together and you're learning, Shekhinah is there. Shekhinah wants to make sure that you're not going to make a mistake. You're sitting alone, you have a big Yetzer Hara. 2 guys learning together, right? They're doing the seesaw, in, out, and they're learning. They're not going to make a mistake. Why? Because Shekhinah is there. That's why it's important that while you're learning, don't stop talking about other things while you're learning. Don't answer phones. Nothing. Look at the level in which you could be. Shekhinah is here. Imagine HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself. Shekhinah is here. And you're learning. And the Kadosh Baruch Hu is tremendous nachat with your learning. And you're excited and you're happy. And the Shekhinah like this all of a sudden gets a call. Manny, I'll be right there. What are you doing? Playing basketball? Oh yeah, let's go play basketball. All right, I gotta go play basketball. I'll see you later. Close the Zohar, goes away. Now, basically, what you said to Kadosh Baruch Hu, excuse me, I don't have time for you. I'm out of here playing basketball. Let's see you, big hero, saying that. Kadosh Baruch Hu comes and say, excuse me, you remember we were learning there? We were learning, you, me, and him. We were learning together. We were doing the whole thing like this with the fingers, arguing, And all of a sudden, you told me, hey, please get out of here. Say, me? I never said that. I said, remember we said many more years ago, let's go play basketball. That was, you went to the devil. You told me out. One time somebody gave me a device that disconnects telephones. And I used it and it was great.
It just shuts up all receptions. Yeah, and it's like this big. It turns off computers also and TVs. Everything. I'll tell you other stories, not on the camera. X-rated. So that's something we have to think of, right? And why? Because in Mishamayim there will be maskim with these people that is what it is. That's why. So next time we make kiddush, Ele moadei Hashem mikrei kodesh asher tikru otam b'moadam, you understand exactly what it says. Now. Okay, we have some time. We'll be a little late, but it's okay. Drink water. Thank you.
So be quiet. And it says now, ve'ele mishpatim asher tasim lifnehem. And these are the laws, these are the halachot in which you're going to put in front of them. Our parasha here, Rabotai, is the basis of civil law and criminal law in what we call din Torah. And it might seem that the whole structure of halacha, which we basically see in Seder Nizikim, is this big building of Torah, which we call Mishnah, Gemara, Psak Halacha, Rishonim, Acharonim, and so on and so forth, Rashba, Ritva, everybody, all the way to Rav Ovadia and Belsky and Moshe and everybody, everything is dependent on that.
As long, of course, at what we call Din Torah, as long as Din Torah noheg, according to Jews who are Shomrei Torah and Mitzvot, Rabotai, we're in a very sad state of mind that many Jews don't care about halachot, they don't care the words of Rabbanan, as you could see for all these people, and especially for you guys, because you guys are going to go out, and you are going to be asked, the rabbis manipulated the Torah. It is a rabbinical word. It's Torah that was made by the rabbis. You have no idea how crooked this statement is. And I'm going to show you how crooked the statement is. Hopefully we're going to finish this. We're going to finish today. You're not only going to have a different view about rabbis and halakha and all those who are are immersed their life. Their life is the whole entire. Let me tell you something. Everybody knows about Peyton Manning. All right, Peyton Manning, Peyton Manning? Omaha, right? He won only one Super Bowl. Yet they consider him to be the best quarterback. And you know why? It was fascinating to me to see that and to actually hear that. Because the guy's been playing for something like, 18 years. He eats, breathes, sleeps, everything football. His whole world is football. Yes, he gets paid a lot of money. But if he can do it for football, why can't I do everything for Torah? I don't know if you saw pictures of Rav Belsky funeral in both here in America and in Eretz Israel. In Eretz Israel, there were more people that came to his levaya than were in America. And yet he was. I saw something beautiful.
He's buried here?
No, he was buried in Israel. Not only he was Gadol Hador, he was Rav Hador, the rabbi of the generation. And he ate and slept and breathed and drank Torah all his life. So for those people who are involved in halakha, and yet there are a lot of people today who don't do that. So hopefully they will change not only your view about people like that live their life for Torah. You will grow in admiration towards that. And maybe hopefully one of you, if not all of you, will say, you know what, I want to be like that as well. Because I can tell you the following. All of you can. All of you can. And I'm not going to be nice to you, but I'm going to tell you. Since you all can become Talmidei Chachamim, since you can all become Bnei Torah, if you won't, you will have to give an answer why you did not. So pay attention, Rabotai. So the halakha, what we call the halakha, which is valid in the awareness of, in the reality of Jews, of what we call Jews. And by the way, when I refer to Jews, I said Shomrei Torah Mitzvot until today. This halakha in Dinei Mamonot and Dinei Zikin, you should know is completely different than what it would seem that comes out straight from the Torah in Parashat Mishpatim. If, of course, we're going to look at things literally. If you look at this, what we do today is completely different than what the Torah tells us to do. And I'm saying, one second, maybe they do have a point. Maybe the rabbi did distort the Torah. Maybe. Of course, it's not the case, but let's see. So by doing so, we're coming to a very fundamental problem, maybe the fundamental problem of understanding Torah, the world of Torah, the world of mitzvot, and which is, of course, the relationship between Torah shebichtav to Torah shebe'al peh. Or if you would like to be a little bit more specific and more accurate, is more of the relationship of Torah shebe'al peh to Torah shebichtav, the other way around. There will be some people, for various reasons, who would say that the whole entire world of Torah shebichtav is no more than a commentary on Torah shebe'al peh. Most of the reason they would say that is because they themselves don't understand their relationship, and they hear the complaint of Bnei Israel that they're saying that the rabbi distorted the Torah. So they say it's an expansion.
It's a commentary on it. But if you be really truthful and you know what you're saying, you know that what we call halachic Judaism, as we have it today, or Talmudic Judaism, or rabbinical Judaism, or Judaism the way we experience it today, it's not like that. But rather, this kind of an opinion is what the Karaim said. The Karaites were a branch of Jews that broke away and abandoned rabbinical Judaism, no different today than Reform and conservatives. And again, I said it and I should not have said it because they get very angry. Okay. Right? This is not, the Torah Shebe'al Peh is not a commentary on the psukim of the Torah. The uniqueness of halacha, the uniqueness of our Judaism, the way we do it, the one and only Judaism, all the other ones are not Judaism. They're Karaites, they're Reform, they're Conservative. It's not Judaism. And I'm saying that. Here, I said that. And I'll explain to you why, so you'll be able to say it as well. Is that that concept, that mindset that we have of Judaism, that is recognizing the freedom, the autonomy that Torah Shebe'al Peh has. Yes, Torah Shebe'al Peh is actually relying on Torah Shebichtav. And from a formalic point of view, it's the source of it. But what determines the halacha is not Torah Shebichtav, but rather Torah Shebe'al Peh. And the psak halacha is being determined according to the criteria in which Torah Shebe'al Peh determines. In other words, what the rabbinical Judaism is. For example, 13 midot, kal vachomer, and so on and so forth, the laws of halacha, and that became really what we call a fundamental of emunah, of belief in Judaism, of what we call historical Judaism, of doing Torah, keeping those who kept Torah and mitzvot. Why? Because it says, Ki lo pshuto shemikra manche et ha'adam Yisrael b'kiyum ha'Torah mitzvot. It's not the pshat from the Torah that guides the man, the Jewish person, in doing Torah and mitzvot, but rather the word of Torah Shebe'al Peh. For example, it says, Ben Sorer u'Moreh. Right? Ben Sorer u'Moreh. What does it mean, a Ben Sorer u'Moreh? A Ben Sorer u'Moreh is a person who doesn't listen to his parents. What the Torah says. Ben Sorer u'Moreh, eino shomea bekol aviv u'bekol imo. He doesn't listen to what his father says, he doesn't listen to what his mother says. That's what it is. V'otziu oto l'ziknei iro, and they took him to the elders, and they ragmu oto ba'avanim, and they stoned him, and they hanged him until the night. So guys, if this was the case, would any of us would be here today?
Yeah, but these cases didn't really come to...
That's already Torah Shebe'al Peh tells you that. Torah Shebe'al Peh says, no. What does it really mean, Ben Sorer u'Moreh? He has to drink a certain amount of wine, he has to drink eat a certain amount of... And so on and so forth. That's already the Torah Shebe'al Peh changes, and I'll show you furthermore on wait. And this is how really the greatest poskim, when they dealt with that, actually... That was their approach. That's how they came about. For example, the Rambam. Who is like the Rambam to us? Mi gadol anu karambam. Mi Moshe ve'Moshe lo kam keMoshe. Right? The Rambam. When the Rambam does regarding Dinei Nezikin, damages and so on and so forth, he takes one from one point of view. He accepts the side of an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, right? And most people, and especially I sometimes I can't believe those uninformed Jews on the radio. One of them actually used to live here in Kew Garden Hills, without mentioning his name because I know the guy is a creep. He's probably going to sue me. But he talks a lot on the radio. He's a big shot. He's a voice like this. And he says, eye for an eye, that's what the Bible says. Pull their eyes out. Ya chamor, it doesn't say that.
Yes, he says an eye for an eye. The Rambam says the following: "Kasher iten mum ba'adam ken yaten bo." As much as he gave damage to the person, that's how you should do the damage in return, right? However, he explains, according to his understanding, what is right, the right thing to do. Right, that's what it did. And that's what he says. You cause him damage to the eye. Okay, so we'll cause you damage to the eye. It makes sense, right? It makes sense. But together that, the greatest posek of all, he knows already from the Gemara, from the sources of the Gemara, what we call the Mishnah, the sources of Torah, but the Mishnah, the Gemara, and so on and so forth. He knows something else. Hakovea mum bechavero ne'enash betashlume nezek. If you cause damage to your friend, how is your punishment? You have to pay. And how do you have to pay? We estimate damage. You cause nezek, tsar, the sorrow, the pain that you caused them. We evaluate ripui, how much did it cost the medical attention to him? Shevet, the unemployment that was caused by him, you will have to pay him. Uboshet, the embarrassment that you have to cause them you caused them by doing so. So we estimate all these things and we come up with a number. How much we had? That's what we had. Okay, now you have to pay. We don't pull his eye out. How does this comes out with the pasuk from the Torah? The Torah says pull his eye. All of a sudden it comes to the Rambam and says, no, you're right. That's what makes sense. That's what Torah says. However, what we do is this. Look at the evolution that the Torah had went. Look at the evolution in mindset. Right? I'll tell you, no, you're wrong. It was not an evolution. It's much deeper than that. You would say, well, you see, Judaism had progressed from a barbaric nation of pulling eyes and pulling teeth and cutting heads like they do in Saudi. All of a sudden, we can settle down. Money can answer. No, Rabotai, you're wrong. You don't understand anything. If you say so, you didn't understand a thing. The Rambam continues and says, when it says regarding Gzerah Shel Torah Shebichtav, and he writes the following. When he talks about Ki Yiten Mov Be'amito Kasher Asa Yaseh Lo, he says, if you cause the damage to your friend, right? This is whatever he did, you should do it to him. He says the following. It's amazing. Look at the sweetness of the Rambam. The Rambam says, Al tatrid el machshavtcha. Don't bother your thoughts. She'anu onshim kan betashlumim. We are punishing him, substituting physical punishment with monetary punishment. He says, when he says when he says we, who is we, Kimosabi? No, when he says we, he says Adat Israel, the people who do the dinim, the dayanim, and so on and so forth, when they do it according to din Torah, we are causing it, we are taking the responsibility, and we give the punishment, the physical punishment, we substitute with money. Why? Because when he says Ata, now, the word now, he refers to himself and what he wrote and the way he is dealing with his interpretation for the Torah. Not to give the Torah reasons why we do this and why to do that. Because this is just an explanation. He's doing so because the Torah, Shebe'al Peh, is the one who's mechayev us, is ordering us to do so. And how do we know that? How we know that? In order to do so, we have to do a little bit of a time jump to the future from the time of the Rambam. We'll jump about 500 to 600 years into the future. We go from Egypt, we go to Russia, to Vilna, and we meet the Gaon Vilna, the Gra, the greatest Gra. The Gra says when he comes to Ayin Tachat Ayin, he doesn't say that Ayin Tachat Ayin means money, but he says something very scary, Rabotai. He says Halacha Okeret Mikra. The Halacha has the ability to outroot a pasuk. A biblical law, halacha, cannot root the biblical law. By the way, you should know, which is fascinating. In Halachot Zaken Mamre to the Rambam says something fascinating. Sometimes the rabbis, if they see it right, there could be oker davar min Torah. They can outroot something from the Torah if it sees that the people will keep. And they can do so according to their judgment.
Like ayin, like eye for an eye. If you look under like what comes after every letter in the alphabet, like ayin, after ayin is a pei, after yud is chaf, and after nun sofit is a samach.
Yeah, but that's
range that it's kesef.
That's right, it's kesef, but that's nice. That's like a what you were saying. It's like it's a little topping on top, little sprinkle of sweetness on top. But what the Gra is saying, halacha okeret mikra, it roots it, and not only here, about everything else. It says, and by the way, this expression already appears in the Gemara beforehand regarding those certain things. But the Gaon Mevilna says further, Ken beruba shel parasha zot, regarding Parashat Mishpatim. Most of this parasha that we have here, וכן בכמה פרשיות שבתורה, and many other places in the Torah, this is the halacha. And therefore he determines a tremendous law to us, and he says the following, Vezu migdulat toratenu shebe'al peh. That's the greatness of our Torah shebe'al peh. Shehi halacha leMoshe miSinai, v'hi mithapechet kechomer chotam. And it's revolving like a chomer chotam. What's a chomer chotam? Like the other side of the seal. That of course comes from Yov. You know, if I want to stamp something, I have to do mirror image on the other side. So it is a very strong analogy here that he's giving us. And what does it mean? Like this. As much as Torah shebe'al peh, there would be things that would contradict what the Torah shebichtav says. However, this is halacha leMoshe miSinai. In other words, milchatchila, from the beginning, from Har Sinai. It's not something the rabbis invented. That's something that HaKadosh Baruch Hu told. Mihar Sinai, when the Torah shebichtav was given, when Torah shebe'al peh was given with it, milchatchila, there was an authority to the Torah shebe'al peh to be paskin the way it's pasking, even though it looks the other way around. We have the authority to do so. And of course, we have the Baal Ktsot HaChoshen, or the Ashkenazim calls them Ksois HaChoshen, which is a much later commentary to the Shulchan Aruch, which most Batei Dinim are using. They use when they come to Psak Halacha and so on and so forth, when they are in places when they do Dinei Mamonot, because not always they do Dinei Mamonot. He says the following. He says that Moreh Halacha, in the world of Halacha, those who teach the Halacha, or who paskin the Halacha, they are allowed to be paskin according to the way in which they understand the Torah. In other words, it goes along with the Rambam, that the Rambam says that in every generation the Torah could be understood according to the way they understand it. And that's what the Torah was giving us, to use the Torah according to the way that we understand it. And he says, which is very, very simple, it might seem, but yet it's very heavy and it's very serious. And he says that it is impossible at all that halacha lema'aseh is going to give directly the halacha from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He says, in order for us to be connected to the Torah, as it says, Ki ilu haya akol bechtav yad me'Hashem alenu ne'askil, anachnu k'mo zar nechshavnu. He says, we are like strangers. What does it mean that we're gonna pasking like Hashem? We are people. He says, Aval Torah shebe'al peh mishelanu is our Torah. Torah shebe'al peh is our Torah, and therefore we understand it and we can deal with it. Torah Hashem, mi yachol lavin? Who can understand Torah Hashem? But Torah shebe'al peh we can understand. This is Ktsot HaChoshen, Rabotai. And why are we doing so? In order for us to keep Torah Hashem. And therefore He was giving us the authority to do so. And not only the authority, it is, Rabotai, our obligation to do it. En klal Torat Hashem beyat im Israel. The Torah Hashem, our Torah, is not going to be in our hands unless we are going to deal with it the way we are able to interpret it and to relate to it, on the basis that that's what we want to keep. For example, if this is my Torah, let's say this is my Torah, I can interpret, it's not just a computer pen. This is my Torah, I can interpret it in any way I want in order to keep it, not to violate it. And this is where all the other movements that broke away from Judaism, conservative reform, that's the fundamental difference between us and them. They're looking to do things to violate this, and we are looking things to keep it. And that's the problem that we have. Let's go back to what we said before, because we're about to finish. Chazal told us in Midrash Tanchuma that the tachlit, the essence of Briat HaOlam, the essence, as follows: Nithava HaKadosh Baruch Hu liyot lo dira b'tachtonim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, quote unquote, had a desire, had a will to also have presence in this world here.
Tachtonim?
Tachtonim.
In literal.
No, in the place, not in the garments. All the parashiot of Sefer Shmot Rabotai deals in a way with achieving this purpose, into acquiring or making room for Hashem as much as He made a room for us in Him, to make room for Him in us. Whether it's taking out Am Yisrael from Mitzrayim, whether it's giving the Torah, whether it's building the Mishkan, until the Shekhinah dwelled inside of it, and when the Shekhinah dwelled inside the Aron, and when the Aron was in the middle of Am Yisrael. The whole purpose of Yetziat Mitzrayim is that we will have a place, we will create a place for HaKadosh Baruch Hu among us. As it says the following by the Netivot Shalom says, therefore, לכן נתן הקדוש ברוך הוא את פרשת משפטים בתוך עולם השקר התנהגו על פי משפטי השם אמת. הקדוש ברוך הוא had a plan and knew exactly what he was doing. He placed the Parashat Mishpatim, the laws, the halachot, in the middle of Matan Torah, in order for us not only to validate the Torah shebichtav, because Torah shebe'al peh, Rabotai, validates Torah shebichtav, because without the Torah shebe'al peh, we cannot keep the Torah the way it was meant. To validate Torah shebe'al peh, that it was also given in Har Sinai. That's why it was there. It's not a commercial break. It's a part of the movie. As a matter of fact, this is the climax. Everybody stands up for Aseret HaDibrot. Oh, it's a Chashuv Aliyah. I'll tell you something else, Rabotai. This parasha, you should stand up, because this is the most Chashuv Aliyah. It is in the Torah Shebe'al Peh. That's the most important part of it. I don't understand the people who don't come to learn Torah Shebe'al Peh. They will listen to parashiyot. They will listen to midrashim. How can you keep the word of Hashem if you don't come to learn halacha every day? If you don't come to learn Gemara every day? You can't. Torah shebe'al peh validates Torah shebichtav, Rabotai. You cannot be an observant Jew if you don't learn how to become. And then Tivot Shalom said something. That's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us Parashat Mishpatim into this world of lie, into this world of false, in order for us to do the halachot, the path of Hashem, which are truthful. You can't be truthful if you don't learn and speak the truth. Our partnership with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Rabotai, comes in the small details of our lives. In the small details of our lives. In the dinim, in the laws, ben adam lechavero, between a man to his friend. Into this gashmiut, into reality of materialism, into this world of doing olam ha'asiyah, into this darkness world. That's where we find the greatest light. We find HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's why we, into this great darkness, are commanded to bring the divine light inside. If you don't bring HaKadosh Baruch Hu through doing the mitzvot, doing the halachot, the way Chachamim told us, you cannot bring the light to your life. You cannot bring the light to the world. and you are living in darkness. It says, the Torah did not leave us even one topic in which it didn't deal. Dealt with everything. Dealt with everything. Anywhere from the birth of the child to his death and beyond. Everything throughout the span life of a person is all written in the Torah. And that's what we need to learn. And we need to understand that the way to settle down arguments, disagreements, fights, the solution for problems, if somebody has problems, the solution for lies, to olam sheker, would only come through the chibur, to a connection to the light of the Torah, by putting the truth, putting the light into the place of darkness. If you have a couple who are b'nei Torah, and the husband is learning, and the wife wants him to learn, and she doesn't want him to take him to the Caribbean, and for him not to learn. What kind of a wife wants to take a husband away from learning to go to a vacation? She should get a patch, and he should get 3. She should tell him, yes, my darling, you need a vacation. I need a vacation. I need a vacation from you. Go to Yeshiva and learn. Go do some spiritual push-ups. Don't go to the gym.
So people shouldn't go on vacation?
I'm sorry?
So people shouldn't go on vacation?
No, they should not go on vacation. What do you need a vacation for? What do you need a vacation for?
I know, it's like a thing to get away from this world. Like,
And then you come back right into it. You don't get away from your problems, mister. You deal with it. Because when you get away from your problems, when you're ready, now you come back, they're bigger. They got stronger when you got weaker. You got fat because you ate like a swine over there on the boats.
you're telling me you always have to work, like no resting at all?
I didn't say work, I said learning. I said,
But people don't just like go on vacation just not to learn. They go like from work stuff,
they don't go on vacation to work stuff. You want to take away from, not a problem. You want to take a break from work, from the stress of the work. Come to the refuge. Come to the desert. Come to the resorts. That's the place. Nobody will bother you here. You come to God here. You dwelling inside God. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is waiting for you to come here. That's how you come to deal with the problems. You deal with it. You don't run away from it. No vacations, my friend. No vacation. I'm stronger than all of you. As my back hurts today, I can hardly move. I'll line you up one after the other. I'll take you all, I'll win. That's a fact. You know why? Because I'm not running away from anything. I fight it. I come here, I get stronger. Yes, I know Torah matishka kochot shel adam makes you weaker, but it teaches you how to deal, how to bring light into the darkness. That's how you deal with it. The 10 commandments were giving us complete mishamayim. Also the Mishpatim. However, in Avodat Hashem, we need other things. We need to add on halachot. Every generation adds on. If you want to talk about Bet HaMikdash that was taken away from us, the place in HaKadosh Baruch Hu dwelled, the only place that He would dwell in us now is in Olama Shel Torah. Ein lo LaKadosh Baruch Hu ela dalet amot shel halacha. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, His domain is within the boundaries of halacha. You want to find God, you come to learn. Don't look for God in the market. You're not going to find Him in the Cayman Islands. You might going to find syphilis over there, but you're not going to find God there. Or maybe you find Rihanna, but you're not going to find God there. Do you know what I mean? Coming here and learning halachot is taking a part in building a place for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You are building Bet HaMikdash. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when we had Bet HaMikdash, only a Kohen Gadol once a year could have entered Kodesh HaKodashim if he was worthy. You want to make an introduction to God one-on-one, you want to be on a higher level of a Kohen Gadol, Rabbotai, this is the place. And everybody is worthy to come here and learn. Everybody is worthy. You could be on a higher level than a Kohen Gadol. HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't need buildings. He wants you. And how do you find them? In the halachot, in the understanding, in adding on bricks and bricks and bricks. And that's why it's good to write books. And if you all have Chidushei Torah, and I'm sure all of you had an idea, write them down. Don't forget them. Write them down. And maybe 20 years from now you write a book. And that will be your foundation, your stone, your cornerstone in adding on to this building that we call. We don't build Beit HaMikdash with bricks. We build Beit HaMikdash with books. And this is how we become partners with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is how we become partners with HaKadosh Baruch Hu in Maaseh Bereshit. That's what Chazal says, which the Pasuk says in Yeshaya, Isaiah 51, verse Tetzayin. He says the following, Ulemor leTzion ami ata, and to say to Zion, you are my nation, Ami. Al tikra ami, don't call my nation, ela imi, imi b'shotfut. You are with me, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Not only you are my nation, you are with me in partnership. How? Through coming and learn Torah. Rabotai, Torah shebe'al peh was given in Sinai. Torah shebe'al peh is the reason for us being here today. Let's celebrate it. Chazak u'baruch, have a great Shabbat.